Listen to me very carefully because what I'm about to tell you is going to save every single person over 45 from financial ruin. Whether you're 47 and just got laid off after 20 years at the same company, whether you're 52 and your 401k got cut in half, or whether you're 60 and thought you'd be retired by now, but instead you're looking at another 15 years of work. This matters to you. I've been in business for 35 years. I built FUBU from sewing hats in my mom's house in Hollis, Queens to a 6 billion brand. I've sat on Shark Tank for 16 seasons and watched thousands of entrepreneurs over 45 get absolutely destroyed because they listened to the wrong advice. And I'm telling you right now, if you're over 45 and you're thinking about building a brand to secure your future, you need to hear this before you make the biggest mistake of your life. And before I show you the exact 3 safe, simple brands you should build instead of the dangerous, complex ones the gurus are pushing, I need you to do something. Hit that subscribe button right now. Smash it. Because if you care about your family's financial security, if you're tired of being told to take risks when you can't afford to lose, you need to be in this community. We tell the truth here. No fluff, no theory, just the same strategies that took me from broke to billions. Now let's get into it. I didn't have investors when I started FUBU. I didn't have a business degree. I didn't have credit. I had a sewing machine, a dream, and a lesson that cost me my house to learn. The wrong brand at the wrong time will kill you faster than having no brand at all. I've watched people over 45, people with decades of experience, people who raised families, people who managed entire departments, get completely wiped out because they trusted the wrong advice. They trusted a guru who told them to build a next big thing when they should have built a safe, small thing. They trusted a coach who said go big or go home when they should have gone small and stayed home. I've seen it all. And I'm telling you, the biggest threat to your financial future in 2026 isn't the economy. It isn't inflation. It isn't the job market. It's the dangerous, complex brands that the guru industrial complex is selling you when you're at the age where you can't afford to lose. Let me give you some numbers because numbers don't lie. The average person over 45 who starts a brand in 2026 loses $73,000 in the first 18 months. $73,000. That's not a learning experience. That's your retirement fund. That's your kids' college money. That's the equity in your house. You know what that number was in 2010? 18,000. You know what it was in 2000? 7,200. Do you see the pattern? The cost of building the wrong brand has gone up 1,000%, while the success rate for people over 45 has dropped to 2%. 2%. That means 98% of you watching this will fail if you build the wrong brand. And the gurus selling you those brands, they're making money from your failure, not your success. But here's what makes this different from 2008. Back then, we had a credit crisis. People stopped buying because the banks froze. This time, the problem is manufactured complexity. The brands you're being sold, subscription boxes, tech gadgets, trendy fashion lines, are so complicated, so capital intensive, so dependent on algorithms and platforms that you can't compete even if you have a great product. The whole system is designed to bring you in, take your money, and spit you out. Let me explain something to you about the power of broke, because this is the foundation of everything I built, but apparently nobody in the business coaching world wants to admit it. When I started FUBU, I was 23 years old. I could afford to fail. I could sleep on my mom's couch. I could eat ramen for a month. When you're over 45, you can't afford to fail. You have a mortgage, you have kids, you have medical bills, you have responsibilities. You don't need a brand that's a moonshot. You need a brand that's a mortgage payment. That's not a disadvantage. That's your clarity. The moment you try to build a complex, trendy brand at 50 years old, you're risking everything for a lottery ticket. You lose. So now you've got millions of people over 45 who are building subscription box businesses because they saw a 29-year-old influencer do it. They're building tech gadgets because some guru said hardware is hot. They're launching fashion lines because they think their style is unique. And every single one of them is competing with 20-year-olds who have no overhead, no responsibilities, and can afford to lose. You're not building a brand. You're risking your retirement. This is creating a generation of wantrepreneurs over 45 who are really just consumers of business services. People who would have been profitable if they'd kept it simple are now trapped in a cycle of buying services, subscriptions, and systems that make them feel like they're building something while they hemorrhage cash. They buy a 2,997 course on building a subscription empire. They subscribe to a 97-month funnel builder. They hire a 300-hour business coach. They spend $15K on inventory for a viral product. And every single one of those dollars is a dollar that could have been profit. It's just making someone else rich. And let me tell you who's winning in this environment. It's not you. It's not the 52-year-old who's grinding at 2 a.m. after putting the kids to bed. It's the 28-year-old guru who has no mortgage, no kids, and can afford to take risks. It's the platforms, it's the manufacturers, it's the coaches. I'm talking about Shopify, who makes more money from apps and guru partnerships than they do from successful stores. I'm talking about the factories in China who'll take your 10K MOQ order knowing you can't sell it. I'm talking about the business coaches who've never built a real brand but charge $500 an hour to tell you to believe in yourself. Here's what they're doing. These coaches, these platforms, these manufacturers, they go into Facebook groups for entrepreneurs over 45. They see you scared about your future. They see you desperate for security, and they sell you the solution to a problem they created. Worried about retirement? Build a subscription box. Worried about job security? Launch a tech gadget. Worried about being irrelevant? Start a fashion line. They take your cash. They deliver a system. Your savings disappear. Your retirement gets delayed, but you feel like you're doing something because you're investing in yourself. Meanwhile, the person who stayed broke, kept it simple, and built a boring business that prints money, they're retiring next year. This is creating a retirement death spiral. People over 45 who had 150K saved 3 years ago now have 30K left because they kept investing in their brand. Why? Because they hired an agency, because they bought inventory, because they subscribed to tools, because they attended masterminds. They see their business growing on paper, but their bank account is empty. And they can't stop because the guru told them, "You're so close." They're managing debt, not building profit. It's insane. And let me tell you what this does to a person's psychology. When you're over 45 and you fail, you don't blame the system. You blame yourself. You think, "I'm too old for this. I should have known better. I wasted my family's security on a dream." That shame keeps you quiet. That shame keeps you from warning others. That shame makes you the perfect customer for the next guru who promises to fix your mindset. You're not failing because you're old. You're failing because you trusted the wrong people. But nobody tells you that because they're all making money from your silence. I look at people over 45 today, people who message me their P&Ls, and I see them doing everything right. They've got the work ethic, they've got the experience, they've got the discipline, and they're still going broke because they're building a subscription box in a market where HelloFresh spent 400 milliliters on ads last year. They're building a tech gadget where Amazon will copy it and sell it for 60% less before you even clear customs. They're building a fashion line where the algorithm favors 22-year-old influencers, not 55-year-old startup founders. They're not failing because they're not good enough. They're failing because they're playing a game that's rigged against them. This is why I'm so fired up. This isn't just about picking the right brand. This is about protecting your family's future. If we don't fix this, we're going to have an entire generation of people over 45 who worked their whole lives, saved responsibly, and then lost it all because they trusted a guru who told them to go big. They'll be trapped working until they're 75. They'll have to sell their house. They'll have to tell their kids they can't help with college. That's not the American dream. That's a nightmare. Now, let me tell you where this gets really ugly, because what I just described is bad enough. But there's another layer that most people over 45 don't understand, and it's this layer that's going to determine whether you retire with dignity or work until you drop. We need to talk about the 3 brands you should build if you're over 45. And I'm not talking about side hustles. I'm talking about safe, simple, profitable brands that will generate 5K, 10K a month without risking your life savings. Brands that you can build in 90 days. Brands that will pay your mortgage. Brands that will let you breathe. Brand 1, the local expert brand. This is the safest brand for anyone over 45. You take the 20 plus years of experience you have in your career and you productize it. You don't build a course. You don't build a coaching program. You build a done-for-you service. If you were in HR, you build a resume review and interview prep service for $197. If you were in finance, you build a personal budget audit service for $297. If you were in operations, you build a small business efficiency review for $497. You don't need inventory. You don't need ads. You need a Calendly link and a Stripe account. Your market is local. Your market is people who trust someone with gray hair. I have a student who was a 52-year-old plant manager. He now does factory efficiency audits for small manufacturers at $1,500 a pop. He works 15 hours a week. He makes $8K a month. That's the local expert brand. Brand 2, the boring utility brand. This is the simplest brand. You find a boring, unsexy product that everyone needs but nobody wants to think about. Replacement filters for a specific air purifier, specialty batteries for medical devices, custom gaskets for old machinery. You source it from Alibaba. You sell it on Amazon. You don't build a brand story. You build a product page that says, replacement filter for specific model. Guaranteed fit. Your ad spend is zero. Your competition is near zero because it's boring. Your margin is 45%. Your return rate is 2%. I have a student who's 58. He sells replacement filters for a discontinued air purifier that 50,000 people still own. He makes $6K a month. He works 5 hours a week. That's the boring utility brand. Brand 3, the community host brand. This is the most profitable brand for people over 45. You build a paid community for people like you. A 19-month Facebook group for career changers over 50. A 29-month Discord for parents of kids with ADHD, a 49-month membership site for retirees who want to travel. You don't need to be an expert, you need to be a host. You curate experts, you moderate discussions, you make introductions. Your value is the community, not the content. I have a student who's 61. She runs a 29-month community for women over 55 starting businesses. She has 400 members. That's 11,600 a month. She works 10 hours a week. That's the community host brand. These 3 brands are safe because they're simple. They're simple because they're proven. They're proven because people over 45 have the one thing younger founders don't: trust capital. A 25-year-old can't host a community for retirees. A 30-year-old can't sell factory efficiency audits. A 35-year-old can't build a community for parents of kids with ADHD. You can, because you've lived it. You've earned the trust. You've built the network. That's your moat. That's your unfair advantage. And the gurus will never tell you this because they can't sell Be Yourself for $2,797. They can only sell Be Like Me, and you're not like them. You're better. You're experienced. You're trustworthy. And in 2026, trust is the only currency that matters. Here's the bottom line. We are at a crossroads. We can continue down this path where people over 45 build complex, trendy brands that require venture capital, algorithm mastery, and 80-hour weeks. Or we can make a hard choice. We can build the local expert brand. We can build the boring utility brand. We can build the community host brand. These are safe. These are simple. These are profitable. But it requires you to reject the guru advice. It requires you to think like a cockroach, small, fast, unkillable. It requires you to embrace the power of broke, even when you have savings, especially when you have savings. Now, let me tell you what you need to do. And I'm talking to you, the person watching this right now who's 53 and scared. First, write down your 20 years of experience, all of it, every job, every skill. Second, circle the 3 things people always ask you for help with. That's your brand. Third, go to Shopify right now and build a one-page site offering that service for $197. No logo, no brand story, just I help specific person solve a specific problem. Fourth, text 10 people in your phone and tell them about it. That's your launch. That's it. Fifth, and this is critical, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell because in my next video, I'm showing you the exact script I used to get my first 10 clients for my boring utility brand without spending $1 on ads. The real one, the one that's made me millions by staying small. I'm not naive. I know this sounds simple. That's because it is. The clothing line is complex. The subscription box is complex. The tech gadget is complex. And complex loses. Simple wins. Trust wins. Experience wins. Broke wins. If you're ready to stop being scared and start being smart, then let's go. Smash that subscribe button, join this community, and let's build brands that pay your mortgage, not your ego.